Mm. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Speak Your Truth podcast. My name is Jelani Julius. This is our 6th episode. I can't believe we've done 6 of these thus far. If this is your first time tuning in, once a month, I get to sit down with an entrepreneur, a leader, an executive director of a nonprofit, someone with a big idea that is taking the chance to take the things they think in their head and bring them out into the real world. And tonight, I'm excited to have a guest that I met in a different life doing marketing work for public transit. But her name is Jannice Newson. Jannice Newson. This is a problem. People give me their name before you start, and then I mess it up. But Jannice has a big idea around hair without harm. Recently started a business called Lab, making plant-based hair. And today we're going to hear how she came up with it and a little bit about the inspiration behind it. So everybody, meet Jannice.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jannice, and I am founder and CEO at Lab, where we make hair extensions from plants. And the reason for that is because I get allergic reactions when I wear styles like this. And it was happening to me for quite some time, and I grew very frustrated with it because why would you get an allergic reaction from a hairstyle? So thinking about the hair causing the allergic reaction, I said, well, I think we should do something else about this. You don't use shampoo that makes your hair fall out. Why would you wear hair extensions that cause you pain? And the pain is coming from the fact that the hair is made of plastic. It's a very low grade of plastic. It's actually the same plastic in your pipes under your sink. So it's rough on the scalp. It's rough on your hairstylist's hands. And it's rough on the planet. It leaves us with a lot of plastic pollution, 98 million pounds just in the United States every year. People around the world wear hair extensions, wear braids. So that number is likely much bigger if we accounted for other countries.
98 million pounds of synthetic hair?
Yes, 98 million pounds of synthetic braiding hair, which is some of like braiding hair I have here, except mine is made from plants, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a little bit. But yeah, it's a lot of plastic pollution that's coming from synthetic braiding hair.
That's what's up. So like this was personal.
It was personal. It was very personal because I didn't want to deal with this problem anymore. Mm-hmm. But also my nieces wear this hair. My aunts wear this hair. My friends wear this hair. There's people who wear braids all over the place that deal with this exact same problem. They're dealing with allergic reactions. For the hairstylists, they're getting burning sensations on their hands. They're getting cuts on their hands. And all of this is unnecessary. We don't have to deal with any of this in our hair and beauty routines.
So do you have like a background in biology or farming or something related to plants? Like how did you go from...
I have all kinds of backgrounds, to be honest with you. But the decision to start this company and make hair extensions from plants is based on my background in environmental science. So I have a bachelor's in environmental science. I have a master's in ecology. I've studied plants in agriculture. I've studied plants in the forest, in wetlands. So I've been around plants for quite some time. And when I was thinking about this problem, I said, well, this is something I already know about. Why don't I make it from plants, right? Because then it'll be safer for the person to wear, but it'll also offer an environmental benefit as well.
That's so cool. So this is a good reason why people should go to college and just do what they're interested in, because you have no idea where it'll take you.
Never expected to do this at all. My plan was to study mangroves in the Caribbean. I was going to be out there in the marsh with my pants that come up to my chest and looking at plants pretty much. That was going to be my career. But I got really excited about this. And I said, I don't know anything about starting a business. Let me go learn and figure this out. To my advantage, I was a student at the University of Michigan at the time. I was in the environmental school. Said, hey, let's start a business. I was working on it with a friend at the time. And the environmental school, they didn't really have any cash. So I walked on out and I walked across campus to the business school. I walked to Ross and I said, hey, y'all, I'm making this hair. I don't have any. I don't know how to make it yet. I just know that it needs to be made. And they were like, let's go. Let's make a business plan. Let's get you a business model, apply to these pitch competitions. And that's how I got rolling.
So you started this in undergrad?
I started this in grad school.
In grad school, okay. I didn't know that. I went to Notre Dame, so this is now a problem because I'm not a big fan of Michigan.
So we got beef and we haven't even started the show
I know, we haven't
yet.
started the show yet. This is so
We can't
bad.
have beef 5 minutes in.
I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go for now, but I didn't know that. So that's cool. So you went to Ross and they taught you about business and then you made this transition. So how did you know what it's plant-based hair? Like, does it spoil? Does it go bad? Like, how does this work?
It was a wild and wacky process in the beginning. So those first couple of grants I got from the University of Michigan. I got one from the Delta Institute here in Chicago, and I got started. And that was in a lab on campus. There's a fiber studio at the university. So I said, let's go figure out the fiber technology behind this.
Yeah.
Made some awful prototypes. If you looked at them right now, you say, that girl just twisted up some twigs. What is she talking about hair? They looked really bad. I thought they looked great. But in retrospect, they weren't there yet. So me and my friend, we were going out in the forest, cutting down plants, bringing them back to the studio, making these prototypes. But this was in 2020.
Wait. You were going out in the forest around Michigan?
Yes.
And just going outside randomly, picking up plants and making hair?
We were cutting them down with garden shears and bringing them back to campus and making prototypes on campus.
That's wild.
It had to be done. I mean, it had to be done somehow. So that's how it got started.
Did you ever have any doubt or self-consciousness as you were going out into the forest around University of Michigan to cut down plants?
We had a permit. So I wasn't too concerned because we did have a permit. So if something went wrong, I had a paper to say I'm supposed to be here.
Well, I was just thinking because a theme that comes up in the show is people are doing these ideas and lots of people hesitate because they're afraid of looking foolish. They're afraid of it not working, so they don't try. And here you were just being like, I have an idea. Let's go outside and start. like I didn't know. I assumed when you told me this that you had a lab or you did the Alibaba thing and got somebody in China to do this for you or something like that. But you actually were outside gathering your own plants.
I was in the field in the snow, okay? I was in the field in the snow with garden shears, cutting down plants, bringing them back to campus. But what I was saying is that this was in 2020, and a month in, the lab closed, the school closed, everything closed, and it was no more plant-based hair. That's the end of that story. But not really, right? Because I said, well, I still want to do this. I just don't have anywhere to do it now. What's next? And you thought the garden shears and the snow was silly. At this stage, we bought one of those fiber lines that the Amish community uses to make clothes, put it in the basement, and started making hair in the basement. So there was plants stacked ceiling high. There was water everywhere. There was dust everywhere. It was taking an hour just to make one piece. I'm I don't know, but I don't know what's going on here. But you know what? We're getting somewhere. It looks better than them twigs in the first round.
Yeah.
So that's where we ended up in quarantine, making hair in the basement.
That sounds like the title of a great mixtape, Making Hair in the Basement.
I wouldn't listen to that mixtape. I don't.
You would totally listen to it. It'd be your story.
Wait, okay.
Next, so this is incredible. So you started making the hair in your basement literally on your own while you're working your other job, while you're doing other things, right?
Well, yes. Me and my friend, we were both in school full time, both working, need to graduate, need to write the thesis, right? But at this point, I'm well, the thesis is cool, but this is more interesting. I want to work on this. And once I wrapped up, because I graduated in 2020, we had to figure out, well, how are we going to do this at a larger scale? The basement's cool, but the basement is not going to get us where we need to go. We need to get to some places for manufacturing at scale. And at that time, we got on the phone. We started calling people and emailing people. Hey, we go to Michigan and we're making hair from plants. What? And they hang up the phone. Like, what are we talking about? That's not real. And we contacted people constantly asking about this. People that were using plants to make other things, to make clothes, to make wipes. We're like, we want to do that too. Let's work together. Didn't get too far. Then we hired a consultant who was already in the industry.
Yeah.
So now when we call, we got him on the phone. They're like, oh, let's try it out. So then we start getting a little bit further. The prototypes start to look a little bit better. And the process at that point was sending things back and forth in the mail. So I'd send them something in the mail. They'd send me something in the mail. We'd get on Zoom. I say, this one looks like cat hair. We got to start all over. That's no good. And we did that for 3 years.
3 years? Did you like self-fund this, or did you have grants? Like, how did you pay for this?
Grants mostly. I participated in a number of pitch competitions. I've actually applied to over 100 grant competitions. I haven't won 100 grant competitions, but you win some of them, and that's how things kept moving. I received a lot of grants from the University of Michigan. I received grants from places here in Chicago, and that's how I funded the research and development process.
Wow. In 3 years?
3 years.
And before that, how many years?
Patient 3 years.
And before that, how many years were you chasing it at school?
So I started in 2019, and then from 2020 to 2023 was figuring out how do you make plant-based hair. Wow.
That's amazing. And you just believed in it. That's what drove you to take that much time and keep going? Because it sounds like you met a lot of stuff where you could have said, I don't want to do this anymore. I could stop. But why did you keep going?
Well, sometimes I sat down. I said, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be any plant-based hair. But you have a bad day. You get up the next day and you try again.
That's real. That's good life advice in general. So you make this hair. Now you're at a place where you're getting ready to like sell it to the world. Like it's available for people to buy.
Well, in 2023, we got to a version that was ready to test. So figuring it out was the first step. Now we have to actually go try it out and see, do people like it, right?
Yeah.
So I had to get my friends. I said, all right, everyone's getting their hair braided. I need brutal honesty. Do you like it? Do you not like it? So we did that. And I got my friends' feedback. I got the hairstylist feedback. And they're like, it's good, but you need to make a couple of changes. So then we went through some changes. We did another test. They said, you're almost there. Need a couple more things. And in 2024, we got to that version. Like, this is it. This is the one. So at that point, file the patent application and get ready to launch. And we launched this July.
Wow. I didn't realize that it was officially launched.
We have officially launched.
And you have a patent?
We are patent pending.
But ain't nobody else here trying to do what you're doing, so you're good.
We're on our way to the patent.
We're going to claim it now here on this show that you got your patent is coming. Who else is trying to make plant-based hair?
USPTO to call you or anything like that. But patent pending, yes.
Patent pending. How does that feel?
It feels great. I mean, thinking back to the twigs that I mentioned, I'm like, through a lot of experimentation and collaboration, it's here and people love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So are people able to start buying it now? Or are we waiting for that part now?
It is for sale now at hairwithoutharm.com.
Okay.
Check us out on Instagram at hairwithoutharm. You can see it here live on the podcast. I'm wearing both of our colors that we have, blackberry and wheat. And we do have a location here in Chicago. It's not open just yet, but we do offer in-store pickup for online orders.
Nice. So it's about to change. Your whole life's about to change.
Every day is changing. Every day something happens, but we are on the precipice of something big.
Yeah, I believe it. So when I met you, you were working your 9-to-5 job, and you were talking about this idea, but it hadn't like fully come into fruition yet. You're probably in the phase where you were trying different versions, you know?
Yes. When I met you, I was stuck, actually. The hair looked like this. It was hard. It was rough. I'm like, what now? Like we're not making any improvements. Not sure what to do. Wasn't winning any grants anymore.
Yeah.
And that was at the time where I was wondering, do I need to put this down and go do something else?
Oh, you had doubt.
Yes. But I did have a point of hiatus, right? For a couple of months, I wasn't really doing anything at all. I wasn't talking to anyone about making improvements, wasn't applying to anything, I wasn't promoting anything. And I think in the fall of 2022, I decided to get back up and try again. And I had to email the consultant I told you about. I said, I'm so sorry for ghosting you. I thought this was not going anywhere, but I'm back and I'm ready to go. And he was like, don't give up. We're going to figure it out. And now we're here.
I think that's huge, though. I think when you're chasing your big idea, it's going to be a dip. There's going to be time periods where it's not easy, but you have to persist, right? You have to keep trying. And that's how you know if it's a really, the last episode Jamal Cole was on, he said that, you know you got a big idea when you wake up at 4 a.m. If you wake up at 4:30, it's not the big idea. And I know that was a joke, but I think he's just saying like it beckons you. It's a calling. And I think people have these ideas, but they don't really listen to them. But you listened to it. Like you were attuned to what you thought was a calling and you kept going and you returned to it. Like, where does that come from?
I felt like I had to because it was such a personal problem. It was something I wanted to solve for myself and for all the other people that I know that have the exact same problem. A problem that seems completely unnecessary. It's a hair and beauty routine. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to uplift you. It's not supposed to put you in pain. And some people have gone to the urgent care dealing with synthetic braiding hair. It can get very bad. And that's what I would think of when I was, on the floor wondering, well, what's next? I would think of the problem and the need to solve it because the problem still exists.
Yeah. And that's why you're going to win. Everybody's going to be nervous.
I'm nervous.
They should be nervous. Because I think when your idea is so closely tied to the people you want to help, there's going to be a widespread like adoption of this by people when they realize they can let go of something that's been harmful and go to something that's Black owned, from the community, shared values, and does not harm them. I think I hope you're ready to work.
I'm ready. I did the first challenge of making it, which was tough. And now the next challenge is getting out there and sharing it with the world, which is a much more fun challenge if you ask me. But people have received our hair very well. The people that have been able to purchase it thus far and try it out. We've had people who stopped wearing braids for decades and they wear it and they love it. I had someone who hadn't worn braids since she was a child. And she was like, Jannice, I don't know. I love you, but I don't even think I can do this. I said, look, this is something different. Please give it a chance. Now she's at my events giving testimonials to people. So
loves it.
This is something that has brought people back to a hairstyle or has made something that they've been suffering with much more comfortable. Even for our hairstylists, when I was back doing the research and development, I would interview hairstylists and I'd say, what's going on with your braiding hair? It's burning my hands. It's cutting my hands. It's making my hands itchy. The clients don't like it. They've tried this, and since we've removed the plastic, it's much easier on their hands. And if you wear braids, you know this takes a long time. 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. You don't want your hand getting cut up while you're doing that. You don't want your hand burning while you're doing that. If we can make that process easier for our hairstylists, that's a benefit that we want to offer them.
So it wins on both sides.
Everyone's winning. Everyone's winning.
That's a good product. I'm like, as a marketing person, I'm so excited for you because these are like these are the kind of opportunities marketers dream of. Like, this is an easy layup kind of marketing challenge. You're solving problems for the consumer. You're solving the business challenge. It's good for the environment. It's good for the planet. Like,
it's cute.
It's cute. Like, it's very cute.
Too.
Yeah, it's cute too. This is true. So I think you're gonna win. How you liking your wine?
I like the wine. It's pretty good.
So every episode I try to find a bottle of wine. It's not necessarily about the grape anymore. It's about what the label says. And so this is a bottle of fresh AF, fresh as fuck. It's from Australia, and I thought it's perfect for a person who's running a beauty business, right? Because your clients look fresh as fuck, I bet.
Oh, they do.
They do.
And you should check them out at hairwithoutharm.com.
You are good. And this company, this winery, they're based out of Australia, and they pick the grapes that they make their wine from that can handle the climate because they don't want to use irrigation, which is a way to conserve water. So it's also another example.
Perfect connection.
Another business.
So thoughtful of him.
I be trying. I swear the Lord helps me. I just stumble into these things. It starts with the name, and then the story behind the wine was also really good. So I think that's cool. So let's talk about because it's been all roses and sunshine right now in this interview because it's all going well. But there's a period of time where it wasn't going well, and you had what were the challenges that you faced when trying to get this off the ground? What was the struggle?
Yes, there was a variety of challenges. First, like I was mentioning, working on this myself, that was tough. Some of the equipment that we needed, it was just too expensive, and they didn't have it at that lab. For example, there was some equipment that we needed to put an extreme amount of weight on top of the fiber. It was really expensive. We couldn't buy it, and we said, okay, how can we put weight on this? Like a large amount of weight. We're talking like 1,000 PSI type of weight. We drove over it with a car. You got to do something, right? Like, I said, well, why don't we just drive over it? Wrap it up and drive over it. So that's the kind of thinking that was going on at that time. What can we scrap together because we can't get what we're looking for? Let's come up with another solution.
That's odd. I would love to see the video of you guys driving over this.
I actually do have a video.
You got to put that on the website. There's going to be a whole campaign. The hair is now good. We no longer drive over it ourselves. Were there any other challenges that you faced?
I would say with the funding aspect, there was a lot of work that had to go into that because we weren't necessarily ready for investment, but we still needed that funding to keep things moving. And we were students. We didn't have any money to put in it ourselves. So looking for funding in creative places is another thing that I've taken up in this journey. Like I mentioned, a lot of those grants came from the university, random pitch competitions that I found online. Even a more recent example, we hosted a plant-based festival here in Chicago in the fall. The Regional Transportation Authority paid for it. They had a grant, and
I heard about this.
We got in on it. And we threw a festival. So you've got to really think outside the box when you don't have any money and you need to pay for things.
But you don't stop.
Oh, don't stop. Because you don't know if they might tell you no. You have to go find out. Go ask first, then get told no. Maybe even ask again, right? Put the left side on the right side and show it to them again. Like, do you like it like this? And see what happens.
Just don't. I think your spirit is amazing. You could just tell talking to you that you have a lot of faith and you believe in what you're doing. There's a lot of joy in it too. I think sometimes when I meet people in the journey of this podcast, they just don't believe yet. They don't believe. Like they have this idea, but they just don't believe it can work. Like, was there ever a point where you thought you didn't believe it could work, or were you always like it didn't matter, like it had to happen?
I think I've always believed it could work, but I certainly had doubts at certain points when it visibly was not working. Like, as I mentioned in 2022, where I just kind of stopped for a while because the hair just didn't look right and things were not aligning. But I have some sort of burning aspect in me to do this and make sure it happens. So I keep picking it back up. I pick it back up and like, you know what? Let's try something else, right? Let's see what happens. And that's taken me to where I'm at today, where we have a location here in Chicago. We filed a patent application. We have a really great product. Our brand looks wonderful.
It does.
And that's been multiple sit down and get back ups, right? Oh, brand looks bad. They said it looks like a cartoon. Let's get up and make a new one. Like, let's get up and make it look better. Like,
just keep iterating. I think that's so powerful.
And
I think that's so powerful.
My harsh criticism that I've gotten throughout this journey, the people that are like, hey, that's wrong. You go fix that. Those are things I listen to with ears wide open. Because that's been pushing me forward.
Yeah. How did you find those people? Because I think sometimes we struggle with taking feedback or criticism, but maybe it's because maybe it's the person we're receiving it from we don't trust. Like, how did you find these people that you could trust where they're giving you this guidance and you're like, all right, I'm open to this and I'm going to execute on it?
I found a lot of them in business programs that are for businesses that are getting started. You have an idea, let's help you get it off the ground. You got it off the ground, let's get you on the stairs. Like those types of programs. Also, my family, they'll tell me when something looks bad. That's for sure. There's one particular critique that sticks out to me the most, and it was in the beginning, and it was the first flyer that I made about the company. And I got on Zoom and I was talking to someone who wears braids. And I was like, yeah, we're making plant-based hair. It's made of plastic. It's bad. And there's plastic everywhere. Plastic, plastic, plastic. And she was like, whoa, you're making me feel bad. Like, because we still use the synthetic hair because there's nothing else out there. And she was like, well, I feel like I'm doing something wrong based on what you have here on this flyer. And I had to take a big step back. I was like, uh-oh, I'm not using the right words here because that wasn't my intention, but that was the impact. And from that moment, I had to kind of turn a little bit of that science brain off and turn on another aspect where I'm talking to people in a different way, where this is, hey, we haven't had anything else to use. We've been stuck with this for a while, right? Let's look into a better option. Let's think about what we need. We need something that's not going to cause us pain. We need something that's not going to leave us wondering what's the long-term health impacts of this.
Yeah.
Let's build it together, right? Because that's why we brought in those hairstylists, asked them for their opinion from the very beginning, surveys, interviews. What do you like about the synthetic hair? You've been using it, there's some good qualities to it. How can we improve on it? Same thing with our clients. What do you need from your hair products? And at Lab, I like to say that we listen to data, but we listen to stories too. We need to hear those stories of what's going on your head. Like what's actually happening when you're wearing this hair.
Yeah. You know, I think I'm sorry, this is just like, what you're talking about is very poignant. Because, I do marketing. And I think that sometimes people want to leverage language that's like disparaging of the competitor because they believe it that kind of like anxiety or anger or frustration kind of like way of communicating, it vibrates very high, and it gets attention, and people are real quick to co-sign when they feel that kind of energy. But in my experience, that kind of energy fizzles out very quickly and it does not lead to sustained action. You're not going to get somebody into a rage and they're going to follow your campaign for months, right? Or work through something for months. That's a love endeavor, right? When you love something, love is a restorative energy source that will generate and continue and beckon you and pull you. And I think that advice she gave you was really key. You switch your message from like, this thing is horrible to there's a more hopeful, beautiful world for us.
Right.
Where we don't suffer. That's a different message, right? It's aspirational. It's hopeful. And even when you sat down in the beginning, you told a very aspirational, hopeful message, right? We don't have to harm the planet, right? Versus they're harming the planet, I'm not, right? Like, it's a hopeful thing.
It's different. And we don't want to do any flash and bang strategies where we flash you with something bad and then bang you with the gavel to come by what we have.
Let me hit you with my moral hammer.
That's no good. That's no good. And there's other plant-based hair extension companies out there too. And we need all of us to get to the future. We need all of us for this movement to get to the next phase of where we have a point that hair and beauty products don't have dangerous ingredients anymore.
And they're sustainable because this is a sustainable way of making this hair too, right?
Right. This is something that is compostable. So once you're done with your hair, you don't actually have to toss it out where it's ending up in a landfill or ending up in the ocean. It can be composted and brought back to the earth.
That's dope. I can see a whole community of people who are going to be wanting this hair.
Are y'all watching? Are y'all looking?
I don't know. We'll see. We hit some random people.
They're looking.
I think when you get this,
they're tuned in.
They're tuned in. I believe so. I don't have hair, but I'm bought in. I will buy. I want to buy some of this hair for some people in my family because I know I have cousins, I have sisters. I have a partner. They all wear braids, and I don't think anybody's heard of this yet. but I've seen them all doing this all day long.
So I'm going to give you a stack of flyers and you're going to go out there because you got the connect and you could pass it out.
I'll do it. I'll do it. For you, I'll do it. For you, I'll do it. I definitely will. So you had an incredible journey. Anything you've learned that you want to share with folks out there who may be at home right now, thinking about an idea, something that they believe in, they've got something that they're passionate about, but they just, they haven't taken the first step?
I would encourage those folks out there who are sitting on something that's burning a hole in their pocket. Number one, don't hide it from the world. Because that was another problem I had in the beginning. I was like, I can't tell anyone.
So say more about that. Why did you feel you couldn't tell anybody?
I was worried that if I told someone, they'd tell someone, and then it would be in someone else's hands. Like someone else would go and do it, and my idea would be stolen. That's what I was worried about. So I was like, I got to keep this hush, hush. Me cover my eyes, cover my pocket. And I had a meeting with an attorney at the University of Michigan, and she was like, look, you need to tell people what you're working on, because how is it going to happen unless you tell them? You don't have to tell them how you make the hair or the exact ratio of everything, but you need to tell them something. Like, otherwise, you're just going to be the only person that knows that you can make some plant-based hair. And then I changed my perspective and I started telling people. But for quite some time, I was just sitting on it like, I got to keep this down and hold it down in the basement. Wasn't going to get anywhere. How is anyone going to buy it if they don't know that it exists?
Look, I want to talk about this for a second, because I think this is a big one. A lot of people don't share their ideas because they're afraid that somebody will steal it, right? But I'm a woo kind of spiritual energy kind of person, right? But I'm also a very practical person. And so I think when we tell people our ideas and someone is in alignment with them, we've increased the pull of energy for the idea, right? Because I only have so much energy as an individual. If I get this person who believes, they give their energy, now I'm up a little bit more energy, right? Just quick little thought experiments, because I'm curious. Just in your head, thinking about it right now, kind of count out how many people touched or helped your project to get you here.
Wow. I couldn't even tell you.
But just do a rough count for the people. Just do a rough count. Like, so you had an attorney, you had a friend that was out in the woods.
It has to be at least 100.
But
there's been so many people.
The hairstylists.
The stylists, the clients, all of the people at the University of Michigan. There's so many
every
people
grant
that
competition
have
you went to.
Many people. But none of that would have never happened if I would have kept sitting around saying, I can't tell anyone. I need to keep it to myself. I don't know everything. I have to tell someone something.
No, and that's what we got to tell people. Hundreds of people donated energy to something that you're doing.
People that didn't wear braids at all. It was the first time they even heard of a braid.
People who don't.
And then I explained it, and they're like, "Oh, we've got to help you."
And these are people who are not even going to make money on your product, right? Like, some of them are just people you met at the beginning of the journey. But I think we miss that. It's like, you need energy to create things, right? And every time somebody believes, like, I grew up in a very Christian family, and they always say, like, in the Bible, when you pray, it says, whenever two or more gather in my name, I am there. But I think if you expand that beyond dogma, it's like, it's just energy. If 2 people agree, that's more energy for the thing. If 100 people agree, that's more energy for the thing, And now you're going to have customers who are going to be buying. They're going to be contributing their energy to this thing, and it's going to grow. So people should really not be afraid to share their ideas, because you need the energy. You need people.
Don't be afraid. Get your head out the sand. You could tell someone. It'll be okay.
And if you tell the wrong person, I'm sure you told some people and they were like discouraging or they weren't supportive, and then don't talk to them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, not every single person is gonna dive in and start braiding hair. That's unrealistic. Yeah. But a lot of people were supportive. Some people weren't interested, and that's okay.
100%. I like to say, if you're talking to somebody and they're not listening to you, stop talking to them. But when they're listening, engage. Like when I started acting, I got a lot of resistance. People who are just kind of like, it's a waste of time. You're going to mess up your kids' money, your job. Like, you're going to be 40 soon. Why would you do that? but I had this burning thing that I really wanted to try. And then the other people, like my dad or my mom, was like, do it. You got one life, be happy. I remember my mom, when I told her for my birthday, she gave me a check for my first acting class. Energy, resources,
Aww.
Right? Like I was going through a lot of time. I couldn't afford to go to that first class, and she made her way, right? And now I'm in 7 plays. I've done 3 commercials, a few films, and like it's growing. And every time I go out, I meet more directors, more playwrights, more friends, more ensemble members, and it just grows. So I think people gotta really like, not to get all like Sunday school about it, but like don't put a bushel on your light, right? You gotta let your little light shine, right?
Amen.
That's okay. So that's a good one. That's a good one. Let your little light shine. That's a good one. That's real. I think a lot of people are afraid. Any other advice you would give to folks?
So certainly don't be afraid to tell anyone what you're working on. Share the vision. Another thing I would say, which I said before, but I will say it again, let them tell you no. Don't tell yourself no before you go over there. I would have lost out on so many things if I just said, oh, they don't have any interest in hair. They're not interested in this company.
Assuming.
I can't get in on that competition. Why not? You don't know yet. You don't know what they want. You don't know what they're interested in. Put your name in the hat. Now, if they say no, you tried. That's okay. But don't break off the chance of them saying yes.
Yeah, that's real. We've heard that one's come up a lot from various guests, like let them tell you no, ask, try.
You just don't know. You just don't know.
Fear is wild like that, right? Because fear will make people not do anything, and then 10 years will go by. And it's like, well, if you had just started, like for you could have had this idea in grad school, and be like, but I don't go to business school. Nobody in my school has money, whatever. Right? You could have done that. Like a fool.
Oh, I'm so glad I didn't say that.
Right. Because it's like, but it could have been, right? And then you look up, what has it been, 6 years, 8 years that you've been on this journey?
What year are we in? 2024? It's been 5 years.
So 5 years ago, you could have been like, I'm in the ecology program. They don't have money for this. I'll wait to do it later. And then you kind of got it out, got some other job. I'm going to wait. Versus 5 years of tinkering and trying and a lot of little failures. I hope in your office or somewhere you keep a frame of each of the prototypes of the hair as it evolve, because that's a testimony in of itself.
I do keep my pictures of my twigs.
Yeah.
And I look at them now and again and I'm like, you're doing something. You're doing something. It's just taking a little while, but you're doing something.
That's important, because you don't get where you are today without that initial seed, that initial energy, So I think that's huge. I think that's really, really important that you didn't let anybody tell you no and you tried. Is it really that simple? Like, just do it.
Well,
because Jamal was saying the same thing. He was like, just do it. And I'm like, is it really that simple?
Just do it. You probably be listening like, what? Just do what? Like, what? I need some guidance. You certainly will have to apply yourself like you've never applied yourself before. I mean, I'm firing at every angle over here to get this off the ground, because if you're starting and you're a solo entrepreneur, you are the marketing department and you are the operations department and you're human resources and you're sales and you're the research and development. You're everybody. So you really have to have self-motivation to just do it, right? That's the first step. You need to be able to motivate yourself to go out and make moves. There's no moves on the table because it's your company. You need to make the moves. Like you need to make those deals. What are the deals? What are you thinking about? That's the deal. You gotta do it.
Do you ever feel bad about that? Like as an entrepreneur and you're doing this, like we were talking about earlier, like there's no days off. Like everything is work. You just said you have every job in the company at this stage, right? When it gets really big, you'll get to like bring more people in. But how does that feel?
I find it kind of funny because I'm like, I guess I can do whatever I want. I can figure out whatever I think will work, try it out, because it's mine and it's for me to make it grow. I met this national beauty practitioner network where they help people who do hair, do lashes. And I was like, I wonder if they'd buy some hair and pass it out to people. Made them a proposal and they said, hey, let's talk about it. Let's make it happen. You just have to make the deals. Like, you got to come up with the deals and put them out there and see what happens.
Where did you learn to make deals?
Where did I learn to make deals?
Because you just said you're a boss, but I'm like, where did that come from?
You know, I think I might just have a bit of a what am I even trying to say? I don't think I learned to make deals in a particular place, but in this journey, I've surveyed the landscape as I'm growing and learning. And the realization is always that you have to go invent an opportunity if there isn't one. So if I'm looking at the landscape and I'm like, okay, I'm a new company, people don't know who I am, right? They may not want to do business with me because it's a new company. Like, well, we don't know who that is. It's not in stores. We haven't heard of it yet. You know, we're afraid. We're afraid of the unknown. So if I'm looking at that, I say, well, I need to go invent the opportunity to break that barrier. And that's how I came up with that thing. I said, well, you all already have hundreds of hairstylists and you spoke to me. You had some interest in me. Let me lean into that and see where it takes me. Made them an offer. Now we're discussing them buying some hair. So I try to pay close attention to what's in front of me and what's not, right? So if there's obstacles over here, but there's people talking to me over there, I send those people the proposals, right? And that's how you make those deals.
So you're doing this intuitively.
Yes.
That's okay. I think like before the job I have now, I started a business about 8 years ago, the Citizen Group. And I think a lot of times when people saw us doing work and see the things we're working on, they're like, how are you doing this? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just doing them. I'm just saying yes and answering questions and learning as I go and having faith. And there were times we took on projects where it was like, do you know how to do this? It's like, yeah. And then we got it back in the room. I'm like, let's call somebody. Who can we hire? Like, but you figure it out, right?
Sometimes you feel like a mad woman a little bit. Mad scientist kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you've got to figure it out.
It's
so you got to try
exhilarating.
things out.
It's exhilarating. You know, you make more money when you solve a bigger problem, and you got to figure out how to solve a problem. And the only way you do that is by engaging.
I will say reading has helped. Reading about growing a business. I did read, the Lean Startup. I also read Making a Living Without a Job. And there's some good lessons in there on just basic, how do I get started and how do I make sure I'm going in the right direction?
Yeah.
One of them was that you need to fail fast and you need to fail early so you can know what doesn't work so you can stop doing that and continue to do what works. So you need to figure out how to fail. That's important. Figure out, hey, let's try this out. Even if we try it out in a small capacity, and if it bombs, you can leave it alone versus trying to work your way up to, hey, we want to do this big grand thing and we're going to plan it for months and months. No, fail quick and small and fast so that you know what works and you can make that the big grand endeavor that you're going to do.
But I think that's what throws people off, because a lot of people are going to hear your story now. They're going to see Lab. They're going to see your Instagram, a hair without harm. They're going to see the products, the store, your business is going to grow. And they're going to see all that and think, she just had a really good idea and it worked.
No, I'm failing. You got to, the good kind of failing though, the good kind. You got to fail.
She said, no, I'm failing.
In the midst of it all, you need to be failing so you can figure out what to drop off. Just drop it off and pivot to something else.
You don't get this beautiful hair if you don't get the twig, if you don't start with the twig hair.
You have to make the twigs. That's the perfect example. I had to make the twigs and see, okay, this doesn't work. Let's make the one in the basement. This one a little better, but it still doesn't work. You don't, let's plan for the big grand manufactured hair. What happened to all the other versions? Like, you got to work your way to that.
People always, like, when I'm talking to people about entrepreneurship and they say they're ready to start a business, the first thing they want is like a logo, like a business card and a website and a name. And it's like, I get that because that makes you feel like you have a business, but you really need to invest time in the first part, which is, what is your service or what is your product? What's the problem you're solving?
What
Who
is
needs
the
it?
problem? Our first name what was it? Awful name. It was Eco Essence. What does that even mean? I just needed to write something on the application, so I wrote that down. The logo, someone told me it looked like cartoon, and looking back,
It looked like a cartoon.
it was a little cartoonish. But we needed something. We needed something. Just put it on there.
Yeah.
But you know what hasn't changed? That problem. That problem has been steadfast. The problem was that this hair causes people pain,
Yep.
and it causes plastic pollution. And the problem is the same today. Without the cartoon logo and the weird name, the problem is the same. And that's what we're here to solve.
I think that's real. Like when we do marketing work for people, everybody wants to write a mission statement. And I'm trying to really encourage people to write why, purpose statements. Why do you do what you do? Because why you do what you do may never change, right? But like your mission might. How you do it might. The work you do might change, but your why may never change. So you have a very strong why, and that why carried you through 5 years of experimentation, ups and downs, challenges, and you faced them all because your why was consistent. It mattered to you, and which means it matters to other people.
It had to happen. It had to happen. And I did go through a brand exercise on what the why was. She sat me down. She's like, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Jannice. And I'm like, whoa, like the braiding hair. But it's much more than braiding hair, right? Like I told you a little bit earlier, we want to give people experiences that delight instead of damage. Braiding hair is
a big
part
idea.
of that, but that's much bigger, right? That's much bigger in how we can support the community.
Yeah. Say it again. Your big idea is experiences that delight, not damage.
Experience that delight instead of damage.
That's huge. That could lead to a whole set of products beyond the hair even.
It's a whole world. It's a whole world. The world of Lab, which I didn't tell you what it stands for.
Oh, okay. Yes. So what does Lab stand for?
Let's get into that. Name of the company is Lab. It is short for Lillian Augusta Beauty. I told you the old name, Eco Essence. I never liked that name. I just needed to put something somewhere. And I was shopping around for a new name, looking for names. I was looking at names, and I ran into a hair company at an expo, and I liked the name of her company. It was Terry Lou Naturals. And I said, how did you come up with that? And she said, it's my grandmother's name. I said, Grandma, of course. I love my grandma. I'm going to name the company after my grandma. So Lillian Augusta is my grandmother. She is matriarch of my family. She left home at a young age. She came to Chicago during the Great Migration. I said, I want to honor women like her. Fearless, ambitious, doing it despite whatever.
Yeah.
And that's how we got the name.
That's so dope.
But Lab also is that story I just told you of being in a lab at the university making those twig versions of the hair. So it's about honoring those women, but it's also about our founding story.
That's right. It's a double entendre.
It certainly is.
That's dope. That's dope. I love it. And I think that's a good lesson in that for folks too, is like, don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. You could have like not submit the application because you didn't know what you wanted to call it.
But
you put the weird name on it because we gotta go. It's
you
like
gotta put something on there.
This has to get sent out today. We could change it later. I think that's real. I think sometimes people need to accept that. Be willing to iterate. Take the time. Let it be a little messy. It could be unfocused for a little while. It'll get clearer as you do it. Lab is beautiful. That's beautiful. I had no idea. That's dope. So what's in it for the world if this hair becomes like an industry standard? What do we gain as a society if, your product grows in the marketplace and this becomes a new standard for beauty when it comes to braiding hair?
Well, for one, we can get rid of this plastic hair with that plastic in our pipe under our sink. We don't need to deal with that. That is ridiculous. And we shouldn't have to put up with it. We've had to deal with it for a while because we didn't have anything else. But now we're looking at new options. We're looking at options that prioritize our health. We're looking at options that prioritize wellness, but also options that benefit the environment. We can also deal with the plastic pollution that's coming from hair extensions. We can avoid that and have a better option that builds into a circular economy. You have something, you put it in your hair, it comes back to the earth. And then later on you get it again and it just rolls over, as opposed to, well, now I have all this hair. It was itchy. My scalp broke out and now it's just waste. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that anymore. We can live in harmony. We can have things that work for us and the planet.
I love it. Less pain, more harmony, more beauty, and it's sustainable. That's pretty dope. This is a really big idea. Like your company itself is a big idea.
And we are doing braiding hair right now, but we have big aspirations. There's a lot of hair products out there, wigs, weaves, clip-ins, and for the most part, they all rely on plastic or human hair. We're coming in with that third option for everything.
So you're gonna make wigs too?
Well, we're not there just yet, but we're on our way.
It's gonna happen.
Right.
It's gonna happen. I love it. All right, we're getting close to the end. And before I wrap up, we like to do like a little like quick fire activity. Just a set of 4 questions. Are you open?
Okay.
All right. So these are the 4 questions. It comes from this Japanese principle, Ikigai. It's all about identifying your life purpose. So if you answer affirmatively to these 4 questions, it's a good indicator that you're doing your life's work.
And if I answer in the negative?
Things to question, things to think about.
Okay.
Opportunities to iterate. Don't be scared. First one, does the world need what you do?
Yes.
Do you love what you do?
Yes.
Are you good at what you do?
Yes.
Can you make money doing what you do?
Yes.
That's 4.
Oh, that was all? Okay.
How do you feel? It sounds like you might find your life purpose. Does it feel right? Like, do you feel like you're on your purpose?
I thought the questions were going to be kind of difficult. Those were fine.
They're fine because you're doing your life's work.
Okay.
But like if I asked you
I cheated then.
If I asked you this about your 9-to-5 job, could you have answered all 4 of them?
Let's move on.
No, let's not. Let's talk about it. Like before you got to do your business, you were like everybody else in the world, like we all are. You're doing something to kind of get yourself there. And sometimes you're lucky where even the way you earn your living is aligned to your purpose.
Yes.
I feel that way.
I did feel that way. I worked at Elevated Chicago, which is a coalition that's worried about what we're doing near transit. You know, we have vacant lots near transit. We have abandoned buildings near transit. Why can't we have vibrant communities next to the train, next to the bus? I truly felt like I was doing something important there. I was really glad to be a part of it. However, I'm always thinking about my hair. So that's why I had to make that move.
That's right.
So that I can focus on lab.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like this question is not a judgment of how we make our living, but it's asking people to question it because we all have the opportunity to have a full life. And I think personally, at this part of my journey, the full life comes from having work that is meaningful, spending your time every day doing things that are deeply meaningful, whatever they are. It's not about millions of dollars or fame or celebrity, but like, is it meaningful to you? And I find in my journey, lots of people, don't have a meaningful life. They're just day to day, going to work, doing the work, paying their bills, and then waiting for vacation, waiting for the weekend, waiting for something to stimulate them, And I don't think humans are supposed to live like that. I mean, you can, but I think it's different when you're living like you are, where you work all the time, but it doesn't feel stressful because it's purpose work.
Now, hold on. I do get stressed.
What?
I do get stressed.
It sounded like you didn't dislike the pace at which you're having to do things right now.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. I think
it's important to me.
I think it is. And so I think when you ask those 4 questions, they come off easy. Every guess has come off easy, but I'm meeting people and talking to people who invested a lot into an idea, have taken big risk, and have seen the glimmer of it working, And for them, it's all worth it, right? But when I think about my earlier career and some of the jobs I've had, I may have been good at them. I could have made money, but did the world need it? Like, did the world need product marketing? I don't know, Was I passionate about it? I think I told myself I was because I wanted to keep my job and get promoted. So I had to be that person, right? But internally, I wasn't passionate about it, because I was always looking for something else, But when I do what I do now, I'm not looking for anything else. Like I love what I do in all aspects of my life. I'm not I'm not searching for anything else. I want these things to grow.
Speaking your truth.
Mm-hmm. That's the branding of the podcast. It's all about letting people speak their truth. Like, I don't know if you're
that's that's why I said it.
I don't know if plant-based hair is the answer. I don't know that. I'm not, I don't even have hair. So how do I know? But like, you believe it. And I want to create a platform for you to tell that to people, I think this is dope, Jannice. I'm really impressed. Like I knew what you were doing. I've watched it on Instagram, but I didn't know the full story of it. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Full of story, full of surprises.
Full of story, full of surprises. Well, if folks want to get hair or be a part of how do folks do that now?
Yes, get in tune and tap in at hairwithoutharm.com. You can follow us on Instagram or TikTok, also at Hair Without Harm.
That's dope. I would like some hair. I have people in my life I want to get some hair too. Do I get a hookup? Can I get some free hair?
You get the hookup and you get the discount code.
All right.
You get the hookup and the discount code.
There we go. And hold her accountable to that because she promised me on the air.
Hey. I'm a woman of my word. I said discount code and I meant discount code.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you so much, Jannice, for coming. Thank y'all for joining us for this conversation. If you have a big idea you want to share, you can follow us on Instagram at wearesyt or visit us at wearesyt.com and just let us know and we'll help you on that show. But thank y'all for joining us.